Right now, not only are we seeing mass adoption in cryptocurrency, but because of that, we're seeing small and micro cap cryptos moving by 10 to 100x in a very short amount of time. Okay, amongst some of those projects are the projects that I've brought to you guys on YouTube and Discord. And even though mass adoption is great, at this point, if you're starting with a small amount of capital, just holding Bitcoin and Ethereum isn't going to create a tremendous amount of wealth. So because of this, a question I get asked a lot is how I would invest $1,000 into altcoins to be able to build a high potential altcoin portfolio. So today in this video, I'm going to use my 7+ years experience as a trader and investor and my previous experience in bull runs to explain where I see crypto going and the opportunity that we currently have on hand, my simple 3-stage portfolio structure that allows you to maximize your gains, which coins I see having huge potential, along with my full game plan that I'm going to use to make millions of dollars in crypto in order to build a high potential but risk adverse altcoin portfolio using $1,000. And at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some low-key crypto opportunities. So if that sounds good, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you like trading and investing, turn on the bell notification so that you know when I put videos out. Also follow us on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. We have an amazing trading community. All right, so when we're building out a portfolio, we want to think about what our overall objective is, which is minimizing risk with diversifying, but maximizing the amount of return that we expect to get. Okay, what we don't want to do is full send into one investment because the secure ones aren't going to yield us a high enough return because there's simply too much money in those projects. In the smaller projects, we don't want to go all in on one because let's face it, a lot of these small cryptocurrencies are going to end up absolute nothing sandwiches, losing 90% of the value when the market sells off. Okay, so we're going to approach this the way professional venture capitalists approach their investments. So normally what they'll do is they'll find about 10 companies where they know the payout is extremely high, but they also know that because of that, the chance of them failing altogether is also really, really high. So if we have 10 companies with say a 1 to 50 payout, meaning that the payout could potentially be $50,000, okay, we go into this process knowing that a large chunk of them are going to go belly up. So if we're already accounting for that, but we know, just like what we're seeing with crypto, a ton of these smaller projects have a ton of upside potential, okay, we can account for this situation. And as long as we have some sort of direction and conviction in a game plan, which we're going to learn about in this entire video, there are going to be opportunities, in my opinion, with what I'm showing you, that we're going to get 50 or even more multiples on some of these positions. Okay, so in this situation, say we had -8 risk factors over here and 150, we're still ending up with 142 risk factors. So say we're investing $1,000, that multiplied by our total risk factors could be $142,000. Now, this is best case scenario. This is if we do everything properly. And if I've learned one thing in crypto, okay, there's a lot of things that you don't expect to happen. So there's going to be ups and downs. We want to shoot for the stars, but we want to plan for the worst and diversify so that no matter what, we're probably going to be okay because we're being smart. So then we can reallocate to more and more secure investments as we progress through the life cycle of our investing. Okay, so just like what we're doing in trading, we're figuring out what the probability of these outcomes is going to be, and then quantifying our risk, knowing that our upside is most likely over time going to be more advantageous than the potential downside when we expose ourselves to the market. Okay, so for example, this is a day trade I took where I bought into the market here and was able to sell out of the market here on a day trade. Okay, and I can do this on a regular basis because I understand the statistical probability of the outcome, even though I know that there's going to be losers in that process. You can see even today, within the matter of about 2 hours, I was able to scrape about $650 off of the crypto market as the market is basically just chopping sideways or even moving down. All right, and because I have so much experience in the trading market, this is translated over into the crypto markets, which has allowed us to be able to time a lot of things that most people in crypto aren't even looking at, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. All right, so how I'm going to break this down is I'm first going to explain the portfolio structure to you. Then I'm going to do a breakdown of all of the cryptocurrencies that I'm watching for this next upcoming bull run with each different levels of risk profiles and explain a little bit why I think so. Okay, then I'm going to outline the actual step-by-step process of implementing this properly so that it doesn't turn into just a random chaotic mess, as a lot of times crypto does. All right, then towards the end, I'm going to do some technical analysis on the coins that have launched. A lot of these coins that I'm talking about are yet to launch so that we can get it at the ground floor. Okay, this is stuff that most people on YouTube are probably not even showing you because they're just sort of peddling basic narrative to follow crypto. I've been doing this for like 5 years now, and I have connects into the elite crypto space. Okay, these are the real deal projects. So I'm gonna give it to you straight and show you where the good stuff is. Okay, so right here you can see we have 3 different portfolio buckets. So we have our aggressive portfolio here, we have our scale portfolio, and then we have our preserve portfolio. Now the whole idea about this is sort of following what large professional money managers do, which is something called a life cycle fund. So the goal of this process is essentially to start from whatever stage you're in, one at a time, to get you ultimately into this preserve cycle over here. Okay, this oftentimes is going to be done each crypto cycle, so you might have to be patient with this process, but if we are able to have it happen a lot faster, which a lot of these projects can absolutely just take off, we take profits and we might be able to allocate if we're early enough in the cycle, then that's great. We can just skip from this one to this one, end in this one, and then you can cut down the time that this could take you to be able to scale your portfolio in crypto. There's some people who have been through the bull run with me last year. I'm watching who are doing all the right steps. Okay, a lot of the people on the private side of our community have been through it and are listening and are preemptively planning, and they're already gaining their portfolios in progressing through this. So this is something that I really want you guys to pay attention to. Stop degenning your stuff into BS and just understand how to build a framework for yourself and how to be pragmatic about what crypto is, because we're entering potentially just a big AI bubble where we're going to have to really time all of these projects, because there's going to be crazy valuations on projects that will essentially disappear. So we have to be careful. Okay, but like I said, the goal is to start from here, to move to here, and move to here. So essentially we're treating this, like I said, like a life cycle fund where assets are allocated and automatically adjusted to lower risk as the desired retirement age approaches. We're not really talking about retirement age, but we're looking as we grow more and more money. We don't want to be blowing money on stupid stuff, so we want to allocate accordingly. Okay, so first portfolio style is going to be low risk, or what we consider to be low risk investments, allocated at 25%. We're also going to be allocating 25% here into mid and reach cryptocurrencies. All right, and I'll explain what bucket those sort of fall into in just a second. And then we're going to be allocating a larger percent of our portfolio into low cap trades. So these projects that are launching that are going to go really hard, have marketing pushes behind them. Okay, that's what a lot of crypto is. We're going to be allocating funds for that because we can very quickly get in and get out of those. All right, and in this portfolio for the low risk, we're going to be choosing one single investment. So if you want to go a little bit more risk on, you can choose a more aggressive large cap. Okay, but the goal of this is to keep that 25% allocated in something that if crypto succeeds and we get a good average price, we know we're most likely going to have follow through in the project. Okay, 1 to 3 to diversify into our mid reach. Okay, and for low caps, we can choose say 3 to 5. We're going to have a lot of opportunities upcoming. So we want to keep some capital open to be able to flip those and also be able to diversify. Okay, the second portfolio is going to be similar, but now we're taking the low risk and we're making it a 50% allocation, and we're choosing 1 to 3. So now we can spread the money out, go a little bit more for even safe growth, right? But we're still going pretty heavy at 25% into the mid and reach here, choosing 3 to 5 so that we can have potentially one pop off and accelerate that growth a little bit. And then for low cap trades, we're allocating 25% so that we can still get involved with those, still jumpstart our portfolio. Our ultimate goal right here is to get to our preserve cycle. This is where I'm in. Okay, last cycle I did start off in aggressive and I just started flipping coins, and I started off with about $15,000 and was able to scale that up to about $650,000. All right, and this is very possible. Of course, this is not financial advice and I can't guarantee anything, but I'm going to show you guys at least what I did and what I would do moving forward. So I am currently in this preserve model here where I still have a significant amount of capital that I'm allocating for these low cap trades. Okay, but I'm keeping a significant amount of my portfolio in Bitcoin and in large cryptocurrencies. Okay, in this portfolio, we're going to have one large, 3 to 5 mid and reach, and then 3 to 5 low caps. So I do have about 3 to 5 of these, and then I do have about 3 to 5 of the really, really aggressive investments. So that being said, the way we're going to navigate through this is roughly going to be the same, and that's going to be with us following the macro perspective in the phases of Bitcoin to see what we should be doing with our altcoins. Okay, Bitcoin is going to be our North Star essentially. If Bitcoin falls apart, all of these altcoin projects are also going to residually fall apart. So this is going to be sort of our leading indicator as to what we're doing and what decisions we're making and when we're making them with our smaller cryptocurrency projects. Okay, but first we need to understand where we think crypto is going to go and what this is going to mean for the altcoin opportunities. Okay, so we recently broke over all-time highs here, and since the beginning of this move, we've been tracking a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure, which we used to predict the top of this previous run here before a sell-off, and we were watching for this quick break of high into the 361.8 golden ratio. And the way you do this is by clicking over on TradingView to your trend-based fib extension, clicking at the lowest part of this trend up to the first push up that you get before a correction, then back back down to this exact level, but then you just drag it over to this side. You can see, okay, the price came up, hit that 361.8 level, and now got rejected off of it. Okay, you can cross-reference this with the old videos, but this is where we were looking for a temporary pullback in price, which is why we talked about holding some of your capital on the side. And if you're not exposed to the market yet, only entering in when we start to see extremely red days. And you can see we've actually had 2 red weeks on Bitcoin now before halving, which is also basically what we've been expecting if you've been following along with the channel. Now, that being said, a lot of times when we do see strength into these types of trends, this Fibonacci 50 level is going to be a hugely important level. Okay, we have significant support turn resistance into this level, which once again could be the lower threshold of where we see Bitcoin drop. But if we are likely to see a continuation, 50 is probably going to be the lowest point we're going to go. All of these runs have been fractal, which essentially means that smaller versions of the same thing have happened in the past and are likely to happen in the future. Okay, so if this is now going to be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, if we use that same projection value off of this low up to our high point here, back down to that low, okay, you can see we have a 261.8 projection here, right around $175,000 per Bitcoin, which right here from Bitcoin would put us at about a 2x move on Bitcoin. Okay, there's a lot of people that are saying that Bitcoin is going to go to, 500,000 or $1 million in the next cycle. Okay, I think in the next 10 years, depending on the level of actual adoption that we do see, these levels are possible. Okay, so the way I see it is that Bitcoin is turning into similar to gold. We can see the gold market cap right now is actually $14.5 trillion. So I would say for the first wave of adoption that we're seeing in crypto and institutions in general, okay, even if we're getting say 14.5 times 25% of the market capitalization of what gold has, okay, that's a $3.6 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. And we can see if we select Bitcoin and then we choose a custom and we put the price at about 175,000, okay, that would put our Bitcoin at around that $175,000 per coin, would give us still a nice 2.7x in price from here, but would give us that reasonable 25% of the market capitalization of gold. And then the same thing for sort of, Solana and Ethereum, right? Okay, this is where we called out Solana. You can see we got our 161.8 touch point here. We are getting a pullback in the market, but 261.8 projection would be up around 300, right? And if this is a fractal move where this is our 1, 2, and we're going to get a 3, 4, 5, Fibonacci projection would put our 261.8 here up to about $700 per token. And say Ethereum started to bump up and become worth similar size to what Facebook would be, so a large tech stock, okay, we could be looking at a 16x in price or a $2,800 Solana. But considering those things, realistically speaking, a $700 Solana wouldn't be that unrealistic. But my point with this is, as this amount of money flows into cryptocurrency, the amount of small cap activity and the amount of money that's going to flow into altcoins is going to be the biggest amount that we've ever seen. All right, and while these types of gains are really, really exciting, if we look at the total market capitalization of the market, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay, we can see that the market cap of the small altcoin sector isn't even close to coming to all-time highs yet, as the market is now at all-time highs. So imagine if Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana are now moving up and becoming competitors to large US tech stocks, this amount of capital could be moving into the trillions and trillions of dollars, and we only need a small amount of that money to flow into these smaller projects for us to be able to benefit off these moves. Okay, you can see we were talking about Nosana as one of these projects in previous bull markets. Okay, we were calling this out around 12 cents. All right, and this is a small project that started off with a really small market cap that has now moved up thousands and thousands of percents. Okay, so these opportunities are there, but we need to know how to find them and when to actually exit the market so that we can realize a gain on these types of projects. Okay, so let's dive into some of the projects that I like. Okay, some of these projects I have already discussed. So at the end of the video, I'm going to put an end card where you can watch the full breakdowns of the projects that I'm mentioning in here. And then I'm also going to be shooting a new video probably in the next weeks, a little closer to the launch dates of some of these unreleased projects, expanding a little bit more in detail about why I like these projects and the growth potential behind those. Okay, this video is mostly showing you the portfolio allocation. So let's go into some large cap coins. So once again, market cap of Bitcoin, 1.2 trillion. Peak bull, we talked about 3.5 to 5, which would give us a 3 to 5x potential. That's going to fall into our low risk category. Okay, same thing with Ethereum, right? Potentially going to that 1.5 trillion valuation at about a 5 to 8x. Okay, Sol sitting around $88 billion right now, a little bit lower now that the market's sold off. Could potentially be seeing this up, 500 to 750 billion, maybe even more, which is going to give us, that 5 to 8x, maybe even closer to 15x or 21x from when I entered it and shouted out to you guys on YouTube as one of the biggest holdings. So we have Dogecoin. Dogecoin is attached to Elon Musk, and Elon Musk does big things in tech. If there's a meme coin, okay, this is one that I actually want to hold. And if you remember last cycle, okay, we called this out at 4 cents before it shot up to like 78 cents. Dogecoin still has a $19 billion market cap. Okay, they've only inflated their supply about 4%. Okay, there's something called dilution where you inject more tokens into the circulating supply so that the market cap for the price to reach the all-time high again has to be significantly higher. So I went through and I actually found the circulating supply at the previous all-time highs of all of these tokens here. And then I found the current market cap to see what the price would have to be to achieve a new all-time high and the amount of total supply circulation that we've had in each project. Okay, and you can see things like Chainlink have inflated by about 40%. Okay, things like XRP, 41%, Cardano, almost 80%. So now in order for us to have the same market cap, it now is only going to be at $1.70, still requiring the same $95 billion in capital. Okay, so this is just a quick thing for you to keep in mind. We need to pay attention to these dilutions in order to figure out what's still going to move. Okay, so we do have ADA in there too. $41 billion market cap right now, could head to 150 to 250 billion in my opinion, be a nice 3 to 5x, maybe even more. Okay, so these are our large cap projects, which depending on your portfolio start, you can select for this allocation. All right, let's go into our mid in reach market cap cryptocurrencies. All right, so first we have Tau, which is essentially like the ChatGPT for the blockchain. Okay, it has similar tokenomics to Bitcoin. I've mentioned this for several months now. We're already up 10x on this project. Current market cap is about 3.5 billion. Peak bull, potentially see this at 50 to 100 billion, depending on how that strong that narrative is. Potential return, we could see probably about a 10x or more from here. Okay, same thing with Celestia. Okay, listing value is 300 billion. We currently have a 10x on Celestia already, which is a new cryptocurrency that has been launched for this upcoming cycle. So the new ones that haven't been diluted yet, okay, that are fitting the current narrative, potential to go to 50 to 100 billion. Also to get probably a little bit over a 10x, but conservatively a 10x on that. Okay, you can also see Celestia here sitting around 12 cents. From their launch here, they're already still up about 500%. At the all-time high, they did around a 10x. Okay, we are getting a nice dip in the market. I actually shouted out a dip by level for you guys here in the Discord. You can see right here, we did our analysis on here, and we just now are hitting this sort of zone here. So if we do get a nice pullback, this could be a great opportunity to get into TIA before we do get a continuation in the market. These are the types of charts that you see. Unless this absolutely fails and falls on its face, we're going to get a rebound, and this is going to be our wave one to see substantially higher prices, especially considering this is a newer project for the bull run. Okay, Render token, also a project that I'm considering looking into if we do get a pullback in the crypto market. Listing valuation 12.5 million. Okay, so these are the small projects that we can be looking out for. Current market cap 4.2 billion. Peak bull 50 to 100 billion could also give us around a 10x gain. Okay, I'm now considering Render token, but what I need to see is a pullback because I was late to the game on Render token. But why I want to talk about it is because we do have a dip buy here on Render if we do have a 50 retracement, okay, back to this sort of $7 range, and we can catch some support on this previous resistance zone up here and then see a continuation in price to sort of play into the AI narrative. I probably won't be holding too much, but I would be open to getting some exposure. Okay, so current market cap is about 4.2 billion, 50 to 100 billion if it does become a top, say 15 crypto in the next run, which could give us another 10x opportunity from here. And then we do have Near Protocol 2, which started off on, once again, a pretty small market cap, 131, sitting at 6.9 billion. I think this could hit that 50 to 100 billion dollar range. Once again, I do really like Near Protocol. I would also want to see a pullback to probably around $4 before even considering getting into Near. Once again, with my investment approach, I'm putting these together so that you can sort of look at it and build a portfolio. I personally keep my focus pretty concise. I have a large part of my portfolio in Bitcoin. I have a few more speculative, larger cryptocurrencies, and then I'm just focusing on finding these new projects and being able to compound those and push those back into my regular holdings. But I wanted to put this together for you guys to sort of show you. Okay, then we have our coins that aren't released yet. So once again, made videos showing these in detail that you can watch at the end of the video. Monad listing potentially around a $3 billion market cap. Okay, it's not launched yet. These are things that are going to be launched in the future. Okay, Monad is continuing to raise in higher and higher rounds. and there's a lot of interest around this. This is sort of one of those jumbo potential layer ones here that I could see going to $100 billion valuation, which could end up giving us nearly a 25x in price. And this is sort of one of those more mid to reach, but it's still a new layer one, which could have a lot of potential in these markets. All right, and the reason I'm so excited about IONET, you can see IONET by far has the largest capacity out of all of these other projects that are dealing in the CPU, GPU space. All right, it is also sort of the jumbo giant from Render, Solana, Filecoin. This could potentially be one of those big Goliath projects. All right, and we're probably starting off at a smaller valuation here, which potentially peak bull could get us up maybe even over $50 billion market cap, which could give us, you know, depending on the list price, a solid 50x in price. Once again, you never know in these markets, but this is one that I definitely like, which is why I highlighted this in green. And then we finally got news on Gaiman, which we've done AMAs with before. We've been following this project for about 2 years now in the gaming space. I could see this hitting 10, 15, maybe even $20 billion in valuation, which could give us, once again, that 25 to 50x in price. Okay, so those mid-reach, about 25% in your scale portfolio, and in your preservation, about 20%. Okay, so these are some of the new projects that I'm introducing to you guys that I've been looking at, and I'm gonna explain a little bit more into detail why I'm adding them in here, but these are going to be sort of the more aggressive reach cryptocurrencies that are fitting into these narratives that make a lot of sense for these to have a tremendous upsides that we're gonna probably have to time. I'm gonna be updating you guys in the Discord, but I wanna introduce these to you guys. Now, just a quick disclaimer, these are very highly speculative coins. We're aiming to flip these and ride the narrative. And I'm gonna be fully transparent with whatever I'm deciding to do on these tokens, okay? Full disclosure, I'll personally be investing into these. Okay, these projects can also drop 90, 95% when the bear markets happen. So these are going to be in and out plays that I use for this upcoming crypto cycle. All right, so the first project is going to be Pyth, which already listed very, very recently at a $500 million valuation. We're already up at a $1.3 billion valuation. I think we could hit 10, 20, maybe even closer to $50 billion market cap, which could give us anywhere in that range of 25 to 50x. Okay, so recently, as you guys know, Solana has flipped over BNB chain as the top 4th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. So if we go over and we look at something like Chainlink, which is an Ethereum compatible Oracle service, which is responsible for providing real-time data, okay, we can see this started off at a really, really small market capitalization, say 100 million or so, and we were able to get up to a $20 billion valuation in the previous bull run. Okay, now with Pyth, we have a very similar project, which is the Oracle service for the Solana ecosystem. Okay, you can see secure your smart contracts with reliable, low latency market data for institutional sources that has high fidelity Oracle feeds. Okay, so this is essentially doing the same thing with providing the Oracle service on the Solana blockchain. All right, but what's extremely cool about Pyth, and this is some of the biggest meta in the crypto space right now, is receiving airdrops. Okay, so what we can do with Pyth is we can actually go over and go to staking.pyth.network. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the Notion sheet that I'm going to share with you that has the breakdown of all the portfolio stuff, so you can click on the official link and you're not going to get phished from it. But essentially, the word that is going around right now is that if you stake your Pyth tokens, okay, you could potentially get a Monad airdrop. And if we look over on the project Monad, this is one of those projects that I see having big potential as a new layer one in the next upcoming bull run. So it could essentially be free money. I'm going to show you a few more of these at the end of the video. All right, the next project that I want to talk about in these low cap, more speculative plays is a cryptocurrency called Blockless. You can use Blockless from your device using your device to power other applications. Okay, if you're on a phone, your compute will be allocated to an application that makes the most advantageous use. Okay, so probably no heavy 3D rendering off of your phone, but if you're on, say, a MacBook Pro or you have a hefty PC setup, that extra compute connected to the network would most likely be used for rendering or AI work. All right, and Blockless is already working with Ion Layer, I think it's called, which is a massive restaking project that is also going to be launching at probably a several billion-dollar market cap. All right, so Blockless is one of those projects that, if it is understood, could probably end up going significantly parabolic. And because it is listing at a smaller valuation, probably could see anywhere from 500 million to about 2 billion. Okay, so approaching the size of some of these smaller cryptocurrencies, sitting around the 1.4, 1.5 billion dollar range, which could get us, you know, a 20 to, on the upper side, if we do see adoption, closer to something like a 50x. Like I said, if we do see Blockless catch on, but these smaller projects are at least going to give us those opportunities to have the significant run-ups. All right, and the last project that I want to talk about is a project called Funtigo. So Funtigo is going to be a massive game platform. There's going to be about 6 to 8 games hosted hosted on Fontigo. There's over 100 developers working on all of these games. All right, and for winning these games, there's going to be crazy, ridiculous crypto rewards. So for example, pudgy penguins that are valued at like $40,000 per penguin can be a prize for some of these games. All right, and we're very, very early in this project. I'll probably talk about this project a little bit more in detail in the next video, but I know for certain that this project is going to hit the gaming narrative. And if we look at similar potential opportunities, okay, obviously we have Axie Infinity, which was sort of an anomaly, hitting a $43 billion market cap, but things like Ultra or Illuvium hitting $18.4 billion, or Oasis at a $1.2 billion. Okay, Fontigo is probably going to launch at a smaller market cap, right around $50 million. All right, so if it is to see any sort of level of success, we could see $1 to $2 billion fairly easily, which could get us a significant return on this project. But once again, these smaller projects, the smaller the initial market cap, the more risk that is going to be on the table. All right, but next let's talk about our strategy and steps to actually implement all of these things into the portfolio once we choose our actual projects to allocate. So step one is going to be evaluating the starting portfolio dollar amount in the goals for each section. So for example, since in this video we're talking about a $1,000 portfolio, in this situation, $500 is going to be allocated for your low caps, $250 for mid, $250 for low risk, and then proportionately the same for all of these respective. Then of those amounts, okay, starting off in our aggressive portfolio, right? If we're choosing 3 projects, we're going to be taking that 250 and dividing it by 3, which is going to give us about $85 into each one if you have 3, or 250 into each one. So you want to divide those into buckets and be able to know the dollar amount you want to allocate into each thing. Okay, you also want to make sure that you're timing the technical entries on these projects as well. Okay, so step 2, selecting the projects that fit your exact approach. Okay, step 3 is inputting this into CoinMarketCap and Arcam to be able to track the amount that you actually purchased at and what your portfolio is actually doing. Okay, so there's 2 ways of doing this. So if you go over to CoinMarketCap, you can go here and you can hit create portfolio. Then you can go ahead and sign in with Google. All right, and then you can start adding transactions to your portfolio. Okay, it does give you the option to connect wallets automatically, but then some chains aren't supported. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing, if we're doing it on different wallets, it's not going to track it in here. So we're best to add transactions manually. Every time you do something, just go in here, type what price you got it, how much you bought, and then when you take sells, do the same thing, right? And that's going to allow us to add transactions into each of those and aggregate them into our total. So we can go ahead and add, say we want to add TIA, and click on that. We can go quantity, say we bought 100 at $10. We can go ahead and add that transaction in there, and that's going to show us our portfolio balance and how we've performed from our average price. So you'll actually be able to track what's going on with your cryptocurrencies. Okay, what's also cool is you can do a note in here, so you can write some details about, which exchange you used to buy it, etc., or anything that you need to remember in there. Okay, another thing that I like to do is use something called Arcam, which is essentially a platform we can use to do on-chain analysis, get details about exchanges. We can also input our own information, all right, and we can click into something called private labels, which we can go ahead and add a new entity into, and then you can go ahead and put a name for your wallet. So wallet 1, all right, which is going to pull in a detailed report of all of your transactions all in one place, which is extremely helpful for me. Okay, and you can track different entities. So say you had different wallets and you had different accounts that you want to track the activity on, you can do it all in one place right here. Another cool part is you can click on this alerts section over here, and you can click create alert right here, and say you have a wallet where you want to know when money is coming into that wallet or when money is coming out of that wallet, or when, for example, you're receiving tokens, you can go ahead and write, say something like airdrop in here. You can see when transfers come in from other entities, and say you wanted to see when a certain wallet received funds, you can put your wallet into the receipt level here. All right, and if you want to have these sent over to your Telegram, Slack, or just a webhook, you can create an alert and always know when funds are coming into that wallet. So once we have our portfolio set up and we have everything tracked, all of the rest of the decisions are going to be made depending on what Bitcoin does as a whole. So we're going to do wave analysis on Bitcoin, and we're also going to look at something called the market value realized value ratio, which is an on-chain metric that's going to actually show me when to exit the market. So you can see historically on Bitcoin, a little bit before halfway through the cycle is usually where we tend to see the all-time highs. So you can see on the first one, we had about 530 days. On the second one, our all-time high was also right around that 532 days here. So we're going to be looking to see, say in September of 2025, where the price is of Bitcoin and what our overall wave analysis is looking on this move. If we have a 1, 2, we have a 3, a 4 and then a 5 already happening, and we're coming into this sort of valuation zone. So we have the midway through the cycle, we have the parabolic move into the 26218 or 16218 depending on the wave count. Okay, we're going to be looking at an on-chain metric that I'm also going to be sharing with you guys on the Discord if you want to join in with our Discord, because you do have to pay for this feature. All right, I'm going to look at the market value, realized value. All right, and this is going to show us the behavioral patterns of long-term investors and show us the market value versus the realized gain value if a long-term holder were to sell their position. And in this case, a long-term holder is holder that is holding their tokens for over 155 days. We can see historically, we've had this 20 zone capped out here, all-time high in Bitcoin, capped out, touched here, all-time high of Bitcoin, touched here, all-time high of Bitcoin. Since the price of Bitcoin is continuing to move up, we actually have lower highs. So you can see our last all-time high on Bitcoin topped out our MRVR at about 10. So if we are to see a super cycle with more mass adoption, I think as soon as we start to hit 10 on the MRVR, with this aligning with our Elliott wave, this is where I'm going to progress into the next step, which is going to be selling all of my mid and small cap cryptocurrencies if I haven't sold them already. Okay, and this is especially important if you're working with your smaller portfolios. This is something that I didn't do effectively in the previous bull market, and I ended up taking a massive haircut on a lot of the positions that I didn't have to had I have just followed exactly what I basically knew was going to happen. But I was in this sort of euphoric state, which is something that I want you guys to try to avoid at all costs. So I want to hold Bitcoin long term. I'm a long-term believer in Bitcoin. I'm turning into a Bitcoin maxi, right? So I might consider selling off 30 to 40% of my Bitcoin if I can hold it for over a year, giving it short-term capital gain status to be able to reallocate into next cycle. But I want to hold Bitcoin long term. I don't want to try to sell the top, miss-sell the top, and it turns out to be ripping to $1 million and I have zero position in Bitcoin. Okay, these smaller projects, as soon as Bitcoin is going to sell off, they're all going to go to zero and they may never come back. Okay, Bitcoin on the other hand is different, and I want to maintain exposure to Bitcoin. So if you also want that, then you can consider taking some of your Bitcoin off but selling all of your small coins, keeping it in cash to redistribute later on. Okay, on the other end of that, the next step is going to be once the MVRV moves to sub 0.75 to sub 0.5, which we can see as we hit that 0.75 value, this is timed almost perfectly every single bottom of the crypto market. As soon as we hit down in this threshold, this is where we can start to look to reaccumulate with the new projects that are relevant, hopefully starting with the aggressive, moving to scale, and ending up in our preserve bracket. All right, and I put step number 9 for you guys to not use emotions to make decisions and to build your plan ahead of time. Okay, the reason why we were anticipating and basically comfortable with this Bitcoin sell-off is because we already have our game plan and we've positioned ourselves to execute that game plan. Okay, so the only thing that this is doing now that Bitcoin is starting to sell off a little bit is creating opportunity to start to look to dip buy some of these projects. All right, and I'm sharing these ideas with you guys for free on Discord as we go. Okay, and then it's very simple. When the euphoria happens in the market and we have all of our indicators to exit, we exit. Even if we don't time the perfect top, okay, we know that when there's euphoria, we're stepping away and we're taking profit when others are continuing to make the mistake of being overly optimistic and letting the bubble pop. All right, if you guys made it to this point, I want to share with you guys some alpha on some airdrops that could potentially end up being significant chunks of money just dropped into your wallet of these tokens. Okay, this has been happening to people just getting $15,000, $20,000 worth of tokens just by participating in the staking to get the airdrops. Okay, so the first one is on Saga. This is an infrastructure that's going to allow game developers to build games on. So it's essentially like a layer 1 that incorporates blockless-like features to make it easier for games to integrate blockchain technologies. All right, this is probably going to launch at around a $2 billion valuation, but could probably go up to about a $10 billion plus. But the cool part is that if you go to this link right here, you can stake your Saga tokens. So there's a high chance you could get a 5x just off of those tokens alone, as well as you could get airdropped a ton of tokens, which once again, you can take your wallet address here, head over to Arcam and go to alerts, paste in that address, and you'll be able to know when any airdrops hit your account. You'll get a notification, so then you can go ahead and claim those tokens, and you might end up making a small bag for yourself. All right, and there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do on Arcam. They actually reach out to partner with us. I'll have a link to them in the Discord if you want to start using them for these features. And I'll put the link to Arcam also in the description of this video. All right, for the airdrop on Blocklist, you can download this entire form so that you sort of have the game plan, but you can click on this. All you have to do is connect your wallet and you'll potentially get a Blocklist airdrop just for doing that. Okay, it's not guaranteed. You really don't have to do anything. It could essentially be free money. Okay, and like I said, for Pyth, if you stake your Pyth tokens, there is a a chance that you could potentially get a monad airdrop if you are to do those things. All right, I'm going to be putting all of these opportunities for free for you guys into our Discord area. You can see public opportunities down there. I'm going to be putting all of these in there. All right, there's tons of value in the Discord for you guys here. We're doing daily bias to show you the directional bias that we use when we're day trading cryptocurrencies. Okay, we've been absolutely crushing it with the trade ideas for you guys that you can follow along here for free as well. All right, you can see on the private side of our community, we're absolutely cleaning up in the crypto markets right now, taking intraday day trades. Big shout out to Goose. He's up 6x on his account with a new system, the TCL, which I'm going to be introducing to you guys on the YouTube side here in just a couple weeks. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you know when I share that. I'm trying to change the retail trading space, and we're trying to bring it to you guys one step at a time in the Discord. Okay, so check out all these features, get involved, start taking cryptocurrency seriously. If you write out a comment explaining your favorite part about this video, I'm going to be choosing one person to win entire access to our full suite of trading education and the entire private side of our trading Discord. But moreover, hop into the Discord, get involved, and become a part of our community. All right, make sure you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel. But until next time, guys, I will see you all in the next video.